Hello, it always feels good to me to be with you on Bravo Iwan, of course here on Bravo's Radio Indonesia. I'm Ahmad Sudirwan. So today we're talking again about the presidential race 2024. Remember, several weeks ago we've had the first part of Race for President, during which we talked about, I presented to you a number of names that are potentially becoming candidates for Indonesian new president, of course, for the 2024 general elections or presidential elections. Once again, Indonesian general election will be held in February 2024, to be exact on February the 14th, 2024. So, what is going on in these days? In the past 2 weeks, we have heard or we have noticed a number of new development, of course, meaning also a number of new maneuvers made by not only political parties but also individuals who have potential to become presidential candidates for 2024. Of course, the latest that we've heard is that one of the political parties that has already made certain coalition, in this case we're talking about PAN, P-A-N, PAN Party. During the national meeting of the party on the 27th of August 2022, very recently, a few days ago only, PAN Party announced that they are nominating nine names to become presidential candidates from the party. So there are 9 names once again, including the name of PAN Party chairman, in this case, of course, Mr. Zulkifli Hasan, the chairman of PAN Party. Mr. Zulkifli Hasan is the first name. We know that Zulkifli Hasan is also now serving as a minister, to be exact, is trade minister in the current cabinet. The second name is another political party chairman. In this case, it's Erlangga Hartarto, the chairman of Golkar Party. The third name is Suharso Monoarfa, the chairman of PPP Party. Next, we've heard that PAN Party proposed this name. You would be surprised in a way, maybe. The name is Puan Maharani, the House Speaker or the Speaker of Indonesian Parliament or DPR at the moment. Puan Maharani, as we know, is also the daughter of Mrs. Megawati Soekarno-Putri, the chairperson of the ruling party PDIP or PDI Perjuangan in Bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian. Next name in the list of PAN Party already now officially nominated as the presidential candidate is another high-profile name. In this case, it's another minister, Erick Thohir, who's currently serving as the BUMN minister or minister for state companies. Once again, BUMN minister, Erick Thohir, is name number 5. Next, following these names, is Anies Baswedan, who's now serving as the governor of the capital city of Jakarta, followed by the next name, Ganjar Pranowo, who's still the governor of Central Java province, to be followed by another governor, Ridwan Kamil, who's now the governor of West Java, and name number 9 is Mrs. Khofifah Indar Parawansa, the governor of East Java. So there are in total 3 political chairmen plus 4 governors, in fact, beside one minister, and of course then the House Speaker Mrs. Puan Maharani in this case. So once again, from PAN Party, there are 9 names have been officially nominated as the presidential candidates from PAN Party, as officially announced on the 27th of August 2022. So this announcement made by PAN Party followed the previous announcement made by other parties. What I mean is Gerindra Party in their national meeting held on the 12th of August 2022, Gerindra Party officially announced their nomination of their own chairman, Prabowo Subianto, as the sole candidate for presidential race from the party. And on that occasion, on that very day, Gerindra Party also officially their coalition with another political party, in this case, PKB Party. So, before that, we heard already before that Nasdem Party, a party that is now also holding seats at the Indonesian Parliament, Nasdem became the first party to be officially announcing their nominations for presidential candidates. They announced 3 names at that time. It was in June 2022. The 3 names are Anies Baswedan, the governor of the capital Jakarta, then Ganjar Pranowo, the governor of Central Java province, followed by, yes, Andika Perkasa, the commander of the Indonesian Armed Forces. So, back to the PAN Party announcement. Of course, you notice there is one name missing, one big name missing in the list from PAN Party. Exactly, it's Prabowo Subianto. No Prabowo Subianto in the list of PAN Party, nor Andika Perkasa either. So, if we should look at the total number and names of nominations that have been made official already by different political parties in the past 3 or 4 months, we have now come to a total of 11 names of those who already officially announced as nominees by different political parties for the upcoming presidential election. So, what is then available next for the Indonesian public? Yes, of course. Now, what is the latest mapping or the latest constellation in terms of the pairing of nominees for president and for vice president positions? Of course, there are many versions going around now in Indonesia in the past 1 month, particularly since the announcements, different announcements made by different political parties, either individually as a political party or as a coalition. So we once again have known now altogether there are 11 names already made official by different political parties as their nominees for president's position. But of course, the most important thing that is now coming, very much talked about by most people in Indonesia nowadays is who would be pairing with who in this case. Yes, we are still waiting for the exact kind of pairing that would be officially announced by respective political party. But of course, there are possibilities that have been much talked about or discussed by different sides or different parts of the Indonesian public, particularly the political observers. We have known that, of course, there have been approaches made by different individuals in this case, but of course also made by those approaches made by political parties, one political party to another political party. We noticed that last week, for instance, Mrs. Puan Maharani, this is one of the latest. Puan Maharani met with the chairman of Nasdem Party, in this case, of course, Mr. Surya Paloh. Now, the question is, what is actually the agenda between in the meeting between the two? Yes, between the two persons. One is the daughter of the chairperson of the ruling party. In this case, once again, Mrs. Puan Maharani. The other is the chairperson of Nasdem Party, a political party known for its quite pioneering effort or idea or approach in terms of presidential elections since back 2014. We have known that Nasdem Party announced three names as candidates for the presidential position from their side. The three names, of course, you should still remember, consist of Anies Baswedan, Ganjar Pranowo, and Andika Perkasa. Then we suddenly heard the meeting was held between Mr. Surya Paloh, the chairman of Nasdem Party, with Puan Maharani, whose none other is the daughter of Mrs. Megawati Soekarno Putri, the chairperson of the ruling party, PDI Perjuangan. So, what is then the direction of this latest meeting held by Puan Maharani and Surya Paloh? Of course, we should wait until the next meeting would be made by Puan Maharani, in this case, with Prabowo Subianto. It is scheduled that next week, Puan Maharani is expected to meet with Prabowo Subianto, of course, in a special arrangement made by the two sides, of course, in the ranch owned by Mr. Prabowo Subianto in the area, of course, located somewhere near Bogor, West Java. Until then, we can only make guess or prediction about the possibility. But of course, in the past months, there have been more talks, more discussions about the possibility, which is a strong possibility, of this pairing between Prabowo Subianto and Puan Maharani to be the ultimate choice to be made or to be confirmed by Mrs. Megawati Soekarno Putri as the one who has the final or the ultimate decision. The one who's holding the ultimate decision making is, of course, in this case, from the PDI Perjuangan side, is, of course, Mrs. Megawati Soekarno Putri. There is a strong likelihood or strong possibility that it would be Prabowo Subianto and Puan Maharani from PDI Perjuangan. In that case, then, of course, Prabowo Subianto can be nominated as the presidential candidate, and Puan Maharani would become the vice president candidate. But it's still, once again, a likelihood. Once again, it's pending the meeting. We know there is already, of course, much talk about another possibility following the meeting made in the previous week between Puan Maharani and Surya Paloh, the chairman of Nasdem Party. But on the other hand, we have also known that there is another coalition of political party, in this case, parties concerning coalition concerning of three parties, in this case, of course, PAN party itself, and then Golkar party, followed by PPP party. We've known that PAN has already made their official announcement of their presidential candidates. We have yet to hear from the Golkar party side, but it is most probable that it would come in the near future. Likewise, that would be followed by the PPP party in this case, as to exactly who would be their respective presidential candidates from, once again, Golkar party and PPP party. But of course, at the moment, there's much talk about probable probable pairing, probable, pairs between any of these names already now made public. A total of, once again, 11 names. But of course, most of members of the public believe there would be less than 11 names who would finally have the biggest chance to be finally chosen as the final candidates by most parties, particularly, of course, major parties that would hold the major number of seats at DPR or the Indonesian House of Representatives. What would be the likelihood then in this case? Yes, there's been much talk about, once again, Prabowo Subianto with Puan Maharani. Then, on the other hand, there would be Ganjar Pranowo pairing with a possibility. Of course, it is not really surprising, but it's rather unexpected actually, if Ganjar Pranowo would run for the presidency together with Erick Thohir, in this case a minister of BUMN. It would be a possibility. Of course, if that happens, that would mean Ganjar Pranowo would not be supported by his party, the ruling party PDIP or PDI Perjuangan. But of course, we have known in the previous edition or in the previous part, the first part of Race for President, we talked about the possibility of KIB coalition to actually propose Ganjar Pranowo as the candidate. But of course, it is still likelihood because the Indonesian politics is that dynamic. Then suddenly now there is talk about Ganjar Pranowo would be together with Erick Thohir. But then, where is Anies Baswedan in this case? Yes, we have known once again, Nasdem Party has since the beginning already proposed the name of Anies Baswedan. Many believe here now that Nasdem Party would still continue to push the name of Anies Baswedan to convince certain other parties, and it would be likely that Nasdem Party would be supported by PKS Party to support the nomination or the Anies Baswedan as the nominee, as the presidential candidate from Nasdem Party and PKS Party. But the two parties alone, in this case Nasdem Party and PKS Party, would not have enough or would not have met the requirement, which is 20% of number of seats at the parliament, meaning that they would need another party. The only party left available would be then the Democrat Party. Then, of course, it still depends on the decision from the Democrat Party, the party founded by the former President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. We know that the current chairman of Democrat Party is the son of Mr. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, SBY. Once again, it's Agus Harimurti Yudhoyono, AHY, the current chairman of Democrat Party, has yet to officially announce the decision from his party with regard to their nomination in this case. But there is still possibility, three parties, Nasdem Party together with PKS Party and Democrat Party, would support the nomination of Anies Baswedan. But then, with whom he's going to run? That's a very good question. Yes, there is that name of Andika Perkasa, the current commander of the armed forces now. But so much, the dynamics of the Indonesian politics coming forward, especially in the past month, and then what we could expect in the upcoming months, that even the name of Anies Baswedan is still actually being connected with Puan Maharani. There is still a possibility, of course, subject to further discussions, of course, behind the doors between different political parties, in this case, of course, between Nasdem Party and PDI Perjuangan or PDIP, following the meeting made by Puan Maharani and Surya Paloh, as I mentioned in the opening part. However, politics is politics. We have known that there is already a meeting made by Puan Maharani and Surya Paloh, and of course, even if there would be another meeting made by Puan Maharani, in this case to meet with Prabowo Subianto, but of course, PDI Perjuangan as the only party that can nominate without having to make a coalition with another party. The PDI Perjuangan is once again the only party who can make their own nomination for the presidential candidate without having to have coalition. So PDI Perjuangan can make their own. In this case, they have all the freedom, of course. But of course, once again, PDI Perjuangan, as we know, need to ensure that during the election, the general election lesson, not only that they could make ensure or can ensure the success for the nomination of Puan Maharani, regardless with whom she's going to run, but of course, for the position of Vice President, it's almost definite in the eyes of many observers that Puan would run. Then, still for PDI Perjuangan or PDIP, the most important thing, the most important target is actually to win the general election. So, PDI Perjuangan wants to become the biggest, the largest party in Indonesia, thus the ruling party during and after the upcoming general elections. So, that is so far the, let's say, the compile of the updates on the Indonesian political scenes lately. I do hope that I can bring up more latest to you in the upcoming few weeks. So, thank you very much for your attention. Until we meet again, once again, thank you for being with me here on Bravo Iwan, of course on Bravos Radio Indonesia. Salam Bravos.
Terima kasih Anda masih terus mendengarkan Bravos Radio dari Batu Ampar 1 nomor 6 Kramat Jati Jakarta Timur. Bravos, your digital radio station.